I'm Kate Donaghy. I'm the head of business technology here at Secret Escapes. My role is to look after the technology we use as employees at Secret Escapes, and a big part of that is Salesforce.
I'm Laura Miski. I'm a customer experience manager for Secret Escapes. I've been in the company for a few years. One of my core responsibilities is the performance of the support teams with our external vendor from a quality standpoint, KPIs, therefore the quality of the service they give to our customers.
I'm Sam Chappell, Chief Technical Officer at Performa IT, and my role is to cover the responsibility of quality and innovation, helping make businesses more efficient, more effective, and generate more revenue.
Secret Escapes is a luxury travel brand. We inspire the world to escape with style by offering luxury discounted holidays to our members. We've got about 60 million members worldwide who get to travel all over the place thanks to us. Our journey with Agentforce actually started about a year ago now. We were actually contacted by a competitor offering us a free proof of concept, and that kind of triggered us to think about using generative AI. We also had a lot of buy-in from our kind of investors and leadership to kind of really kind of get on the generative AI journey. That kind of contact and that initial proposal sort of turned into something quite different. But in that journey of thinking about generative AI in front of our customers, what we did a really great job of is identifying really interesting and useful use cases. So we looked at kind of our messaging channel. We looked at the incoming tickets we were getting or cases we were getting to understand why our members were contacting us, kind of how easy is it to do that in terms of self-serve at the moment, what are the gaps in terms of functionality, and from there put together a really comprehensive list of 6 use cases we wanted to target with whatever generative AI tool that we were using. So in that, we spoke to Salesforce and said, hey, look, we've been approached by another supplier. This is the sort of stuff we're trying to do. What do you guys offer? We are a massive advocate, particularly Eric, our CTO, of extending the technology we already have as opposed to always buying new, and kind of investing in the teams you already have internally. We already have a really strong Salesforce team, which is aided by Performa IT. And so in that conversation, where we started with was actually generative AI for internal users. So this is Einstein for Service. That was what they had publicly available at the time. And we purchased the licenses for our agents. I sort of was like, I can't imagine it's as easy as they're telling me it is in this sales pitch. But I was really surprised by actually how simple it was to turn on functionality, ground the model in data that we have in Salesforce, ground it in our knowledge base, and get some really easy, really useful tools in front of our agents very quickly. And some of the impacts we saw from Einstein for Service was a reduction in our average handle time, up to 45% actually in some cases, particularly on messaging using service replies for chat.
Before even implementing Agentforce, we started investing into the Einstein agent-facing features to get the team used to working with AI and understanding how it would be beneficial for their day-to-day life. And then Agentforce will actually become part of this array of tools in their toolkit box so that they can just focus on what matters the most, which is the complicated and more sensitive queries. So from an actual operational point of view, I thought showing the capabilities of the tool is the best way to advertise it and make everyone an advocate for it, to really prove how this is not replacing anyone. It's just making things easier for them to let them focus on what's most important.
So yeah, that's kind of where we started. We'd seen some really good success there. And that's when they kind of said to us, look, we've got this Agentforce product that's coming out, and we're looking for people to be on the pilot. We'd really love to have a UK company. You guys have a really strong knowledge base already. You're already using Einstein for Service. You really understand the product. You've got a team like Performa IT already ready to support you. We had done already a lot of work with Performa IT on understanding what the scope would be. How would we kind of deliver these use cases? What data did we need? Where did we need it? What automation was missing? What can we reuse that we already have in the system? And so kind of mixing all that together was how we managed to get onto the pilot, along with, a really good relationship we've built with Salesforce. And so I think it was about 3 weeks between getting access to Agentforce and actually having something live in front of our members. We started off by thinking, right, let's get all of our use cases live at the same time. But actually what I think we learned on the journey with generative AI is actually start small, learn as you go, iterate on what you have and build over time. And because we had a really good knowledge base and because we already had a menu-based bot, we already knew that we had the foundations to have a generative AI general FAQ agent on our website. And that's what we went live with. It was the first thing we did. Kind of shortest path to value is kind of something we try to live by here at Secret Escapes. From there, we've been adding more to it. So now we have special requests. So say, for example, you want to have a cot in the room or a bottle of champagne, we now have the kind of structure in place to allow you to get that value without having to speak to a human agent. And we're kind of continuing to add more use cases that empower our members to do more for themselves over time.
The involvement in the Agentforce pilot for Secret Escapes has been really exciting. We've built a really trusting relationship with Secret Escapes over many years, and I think that has been the catalyst to allow us to get introduced to the world of Agentforce through the product beta. So we were the first partner to deliver an Agentforce solution with a client in EMEA, which is really, really cool. We actually delivered the first deployment of it before the product had even been released as generally available. So it was really, really exciting.
The primary goals, I think actually generative AI as a tool for us, it is kind of, has multiple layers to it. So one thing we want to try and make sure we do is ensure that our members get great service in whichever way they want to contact us. And that great service can come through automation, it can come through speaking to a human agent. We also want to make sure that our human agents, that kind of precious resource, which is so human in the way it works, like empathy and understanding who someone is, why they're on holiday, that we use them in the right time and right place. Like travel is a uniquely human experience. You go on holiday to escape your real life. You want joy, you want interest, you want to see the world, you want to be influenced and learn new things, and you want that to be reliable, and you want to know that your holiday is going to be safe and great. If that isn't the case for some reason, because there is wildfires in Greece or you've had an injury or something, that's when you want a human being in the loop to speak to that person and help them be guided to find the right answer and get to that great holiday. So making sure we're using them in the right place at the right time. So then trying to target the different use cases that are repeatable tasks that either we already have a self-service tool in place, but maybe that's not as clear to our members, or we could be putting that even more in their hands at the right place at the right time in the way they want to speak to us. Or they are use cases that have a lot of volume of cases, but are not complicated, and the information is available within Salesforce or can be accessed by Salesforce and given to our members at the right place and right time. So we were looking at 6 use cases for Agentforce Service Agent. One was general FAQs, one was special requests, and we chose that as one of the use cases because it really challenged our ability to describe secret escapes. Like, what does special request mean? That's a completely ambiguous term that is unique to us. And our goal with that one was to really understand how do we, using natural language, program a tool, whilst also helping a member with a really easy, repeatable task. The next one we were then looking at was around kind of flight information. So our members will come to us and wanting to know or clarify their luggage allowance or get their P&R number. Usually that's quite a time-sensitive request, but again, it's data that can be accessed from Salesforce. It doesn't require a human to be involved. And like the member just wants to know that information as quickly as possible, right? We then have kind of cancellations and booking amendments. Again, super high volume like the others, but we already have some self-service flows in place. So how do we point them in the direction to have that self-service experience? But also actually, how do we allow people to cancel their booking within a generative AI tool? How do we get the data connected in the right way? How do we authenticate that person to make sure they're the right person to have the power to cancel that booking? And how do we make sure that even though they've cancelled that booking, it was a great experience and they'll come and book with us again? And the last use case we've been looking at is occupancy information. So can I add a child to my booking? Or can I get a solo rate, for example? This is a question, again, that is repetitive, and we have access to that data in Salesforce, but actually really can be solved by a really strong, well-written knowledge article that explains what can and can't be done on our website. And so we looked at those because they were targeting kind of reducing the overall volumes, getting to human agents, and making sure our human agents are being deployed where and when they want to. And so that kind of ASA or Agentforce for Service tool or technology is going to help us target first contact resolution, and it's going to help us increase the deflection rate, which what we mean there is deflecting it away from a human being as opposed to deflecting that member away from secret escapes completely. Then if we think about Einstein for Service, which is the internal tool, that generative AI internal tool, what that's trying to help you target is average handle time, efficiencies, increasing customer satisfaction scores. And so because you've kind of got all these pieces of technology that can be used in lots of different parts of the journey for both a human agent, but also our members, you can really use it as a toolkit to kind of influence different metrics at different times based on what's important to your business. And that's why I think it's such a great thing. And whilst our goals for the initial implementation have been around average handle time and deflection, it feels really clear to me that this technology can allow us to influence so many more parts of our customer's journey.
Working with Agentforce has been very rewarding for me. Without any technical background, someone like me can just go in and work on it and actually see the changes that you're making produce outcomes and results. So it's very nice for someone that hasn't have any experience in coding or development in Salesforce to see that you can actually make a difference.
Generative AI as a concept is designed to not give exactly the same answer every time you put the same request in. So how do you test that? We had to get a little bit creative. That really needs key business stakeholders to be able to review that. It needs the people who are really knowledgeable about that subject, which is the team in customer services for the Agentforce service agent at Secret Escapes, to make sure that the answers that are being generated are the same kinds of answers that you would give if you were an agent typing the response in the live chat, enabling them to then spend time on more critical cases and tickets that need that real human touch.
The testing bit is the, I would say, the longest part. So actually setting everything up was not as long as testing the outcome of what you do. It's been very interesting. You have to really put yourself in the shoes of the customer. So that's why someone like me worked in testing environment, because I knew what to expect and what the good answers were going to be. But also opening it up to other people within the company or within the team at Performa IT gives you different angles on the quality of the responses. And because sometimes I'm so stuck into the processes that we have, having someone external, having a judgment on the responses and their quality was also very interesting and enriching for what I do.
I think that attitude of learning as you go, targeting the right use cases, and because we've done so much of that thinking around what our use cases are, what's the value we're driving, how do we measure that value, in tandem with finding the right technology, meant we could really move quite quickly. And again, as I said, being set up with a really good in-house Salesforce team, a really good partnership with Performa IT, and a really great partnership with Salesforce allowed us to kind of get to that place.
Everyone went in with a very open mind. So from the get-go, it was clear that none of us really knew what they were doing, and that was okay. Even when talking to the professional services at Salesforce, I was encouraged to see that they were also willing to listen to our point of view, our advice, because we were really trailblazing through this with them. So if the inclusion of different people with different skill sets, I think that was one part of the success. Definitely collaboration within our teams, so Performa IT teams and the Secret Escapes team. Communication was always super clear, honest.
Working with brand new technology was really exciting, to be honest. I had everyone in the delivery team was asking me, can I be on this project? I want to be on the latest AI features that are coming out that no one else is working on in the country, or very few are working on. The way that we've been able to share knowledge and, go back to the old school roots of software development and software architecture in really trying to define what best practices are, what they mean within the context of Agentforce and generative AI for customers, and being able to build a really quality product that is trailblazing and helping other businesses innovate. And that has been a really wonderful experience. And the other really fun thing was there was a request going out with a prize to see who could break or produce a bug of the agent just before it went out, and we didn't get any bugs out of it, which is really, really powerful. So the Einstein trust layer, the Atlas reasoning engine doing everything that it does need to do, marking things as off topic or toxic or not relevant, was really, really incredible, powerful to see that that's been honed. The security of your data and the answers that you're giving back can't be troubled with, tricked with. You can't get it to write you a cupcake recipe if that's not what you do day to day. So that was really cool.
So in terms of the results we've seen after going live, I think we're still on the journey to really realise the value we're hoping to get. Our initial plan was to this general FAQ agent we got live first was to get something that's feature parity, does a conversational interface with our existing knowledge base, increase deflection. Now what we have seen is that we have achieved the same level of deflection we were getting beforehand, but it's also taught us a lot about actually taking that really macro lens at your data. It doesn't give you the visibility of the nuance of what's going on. And so we've been looking at actually how do we measure deflection of, was this information helpful? Which is one thing to look at. And the second thing is, did it actually solve your query? And if it did solve your query, did it stop you contacting us in a different way within the next 30 minutes, for example? Trying to get some clarity, and that's quite difficult. We're also seeing that members are happy with the responses they're getting. Particularly what I think is interesting is where their question has got multiple layers and different avenues to what they're asking us about. For them to be happy with the kind of responses that they're getting, which is one response that's blending 3 to 5 different knowledge articles together in a coherent, accurate response, means people are happier with the responses they were getting than they were before. So we're achieving some of those numbers, but I do think it's really a journey at the moment. We don't have all of those use cases live. So our hope is as we see more and more of them live, we'll start to see some of the benefits of what's going on. But even though maybe we're still early on in that journey, it has encouraged us to learn so much more about the data we had before, what was it telling us, and it's encouraged us and leadership level people to be looking at these cases. What is this conversation like? What are they saying? What are we learning from what they're saying to us? And giving us that clarity to actually be a bit more intentional and clearer in what our future use cases are and actually where we want to help people. And being able to see how the work we've done with Agentforce for Service and seeing how we can get these same benefits on potentially all of our contact channels, including something like voice, which is typically really difficult to influence, feels really exciting to me. So whilst we're still on that journey, the future looks awesome. And I'm really excited to see what the continued impact of Agentforce has on customer services and entire department at Secret Escapes.
The impact of Agentforce on customer experience, I think, will be expanding the time where we can actually provide support. So we're not 24/7, but as you know, we have people traveling all over the world any time of the day. So having Agentforce available for them would be a game changer. And also I think it's really useful in helping prioritization of queries. So in understanding when actually a human has to take over and making that transition smoother. I felt with the menu-based bot, that was one of the main issues because the customer tended to get stuck into the loop, and so it was generating additional contacts for us in some instances. With Agentforce, that transition is easy and you can program it the way you want it to work.
What Performa IT do really well is offer different types of service for different types of problems. We've had great success with professional services support, which has been this is a scope, this is a start, this is a finish. and really learning together on those journeys. And I think that's what we've done really well with Agentforce. For service is kind of being clear with the scope at the beginning, flexible with each other because we knew we were both on this learning journey, and kind of having that as a clear partnership. And it's been so great to work with them on Agentforce for service because we've worked with them for a little while. They know how we work, they know how our business works, and they've been integral in building some of the foundations in Service Cloud. And it was really exciting actually to learn with them and their ability to kind of mix that kind of human understanding of how we work and how Agentforce works, along with their understanding and knowledge of how our system works. The automation, our business model, how we structure things, allowed us to move really quickly. I think it really helped us meet that 3-week kind of target of going from having access to having something live. We also have a really great relationship with them for managed services. So, purchasing in an amount of time, and them kind of really being an extension of our core Salesforce team. That's allowed us to be really resilient, allowed us to kind of handle the kind of peaks and troughs that come with travel. It's a very seasonal business to be in, and there's different demands throughout the year. So being able to really scale that support back and forth throughout the year has been really brilliant. They're also really knowledgeable with Service Cloud, which I think is quite difficult to find, particularly in the kind of direct hire market. I've loved having really great conversations, like really challenging each other. Like, is that the right thing to do? And should we be doing it this way? And it feeling like an extension of our team, a partnership where both sides kind of push back and challenge, which I think I've had lots of experience with partners who haven't done that. And it's ended in scenarios where you have a system that's incredibly over-engineered, very brittle, with lots of technical debt quite quickly. So to feel like we're in a different position having worked with Performa IT, and feeling like we've kind of learnt together, has been a really great part of my career actually here at Secret Escapes.
I would recommend Performa IT as a partner for Salesforce because of the people. So it's very easy to work with you guys. Very different background, people coming from different experiences with different skills, but everyone is willing to work as one team. So I have to say I never felt the difference between us, as we're from two different companies. When we're working on one project, we're in it together. And the skills, simply being able to do what you do that we can't do. So it made everything easier. And the fact that majority of the time I don't have to explain myself too much. You just get it because of the experience that you guys have with the Service Cloud. So it's not easy to find, at least in my experience, partners that actually can read your mind almost, or you give a problem statement and they are like, yeah, got it, we'll do it, and we'll review it together.
We have a really brilliant relationship with Secret Escapes and all of our customers. When everyone's really passionate about new technology, that enables you to get a product out from access to the product to going live in 3 weeks, which is very quick in the software world. Performa IT, your trusted Agentforce experts.